Hey, Science 20, we are starting a new unit. It is all about biology. So the way that I'm going to run this last unit is a little bit different. I'm going to be giving you the notes, and there is a note pack where you can fill in the notes as we go. It's similar to what we've been doing, but this one is more direct because biology has a ton of definitions that you have to go through. So every day we're going to cover like one specific portion of the Science 20 biology curriculum, and then I'll link it to a bunch of fun videos. So that's how this last unit's going to go. We'll still have one assignment to hand in a week, and we're still going to have a unit test, quote unquote, done on Google, those Google form things. So today, the first lesson is about the biosphere and the things within the ecosystems where we live. Okay. All right. So to start, we need to go over how you break down an ecosystem. An ecosystem basically is studied through ecology, and that's how organisms interact with one another and their physical environment. So it's how living things react with living things and living things react with non-living things. That's what ecology is. An ecosystem is that interaction. There are things that are alive called biotics or biotic entities. Bio meaning biology. And abiotic means non-living, things that aren't alive. So if you think of Bunsen running through a field, the air he's breathing is abiotic. The rocks and the river, the streams and the water around him are abiotic. But all of the grass and the animals and the microorganisms living around him is biotic. And an ecosystem is generally specific to a certain place on Earth. There are certain biotic and abiotic factors on Earth in that area. You can organize an ecosystem further into more specific things. An ecosystem is very, very general. You can organize an ecosystem into a community, and that's an interacting group within the ecosystem. A population, that's like a smaller group of individuals living in an area, all the way down to a single individual that you would study. So if you think of something like a coyote is an individual. A pack of coyotes is a population. All of the populations interacting in an area that, the rabbits and all of that, that's a community. And then if you scale that up even bigger, you get an ecosystem. All right. So if we take a look at this picture here, we got some fish. What biotic and abiotic factors define the ecosystem shown to the right? Well, things that are alive as anything you can think of that would be alive. All of the microorganisms, the plants, the fish, and the turtle, the bugs. Things that aren't alive are the water, the air, possibly the mud. You can consider that abiotic. Now, what is a community? What is a community? Well, remember, a community is a little bit more specific than an ecosystem. A community could be only a few of those things interacting. What's a population? Well, now a population isn't going to be the fish and the turtle. That's more specific. A population could be all of the secondary consumers, all of the decomposers, and all of the microorganisms. And an individual is a specific fish, right? An individual is a specific turtle or a specific bacteria. So before we get into individuals, communities, and populations, let's talk about what species are. And I've got some really fun videos that will go with this after you've watched this video about species. Okay. Now, some organisms look very similar, yet are characterized as a different species. So if you think of all of the canine, the family, you have the domestic dog, wolf, coyote, jackal, fox. Those are all parts that look very similar. Like there are some coyotes that look very similar to dogs. There's definitely some wolves that look similar to huskies. But other organisms look very different from another, yet are characterized as the same species. So if you think of domestic dogs, Bunsen looks a heck of a lot different than a Chihuahua. So, this is the definition for species. A species is defined as a group of organisms that successfully breed with one another to produce fertile offspring. So you can make a horse and a donkey have bye-byes by getting jiggy with each other, and they make a mule. And mules have the personalities of both put together. They're very, very, very strong, and they can pull stuff. But a mule doesn't have more mules. You can't make any more mules. A mule mating with another mule produces no fertile offspring. Okay, so the mule can't have babies. Donkeys with donkeys, sure, you can make some waffles. A horse with a horse, of course. But a horse and a donkey, no, doesn't work. So that's what a species is. So if we go back to the previous slide, as hard as it is to believe a Bunsen, a Bernese Mountain Dog, could have puppies with a Chihuahua, and you'd have a Bernese Mountain Wawa or a Chihuahuanese. I don't know what you'd have. You'd have some weird looking dog. But that's where we get all the different breeds from. Like, think of all of the doodles that are everywhere, right? They're very popular to breed golden retrievers, Bernese Mountain Dogs, Labs, other things there's probably other ones. There's 3. So you get a golden doodle, a labradoodle, a bernedoodle. So you can breed those animals, and they can go on to have more bye-byes. Okay. Now, this is the last slide we're gonna do, and I'm gonna link some videos with mutualism, parasitism, and commensalism. And these are the relationships that form symbiosis, or organisms that are together in an ecosystem having and interacting with each other. Not all interactions are positive. Some are very positive, some are not great, or some they interact but nobody gets hurt. And of course, parasitism, not great. That's where usually one entity benefits and the other is harmed. Okay. This concludes lesson 1 of biology. So on your note pack, you can fill in the notes from what you remember. They're left to be filled in. And then we're going to continue tomorrow, not tomorrow, it'll be Monday, with more specifics on mutualism, parasitism, and commensalism, or commentalism.